So I'm honored next to introduce our next speaker today. So she is new to staff, newer to staff, but she's not new to Oley. In fact, she's been an Oley member most of her life. And her family has been many, many years. They've been to way more Oley conferences than I've ever been. I'm a newbie at only like 10 or so years, so I'm one of the new people around, right? And so she is going to talk today. Her talk is entitled Advocacy, Education, Community, and Innovation. Those are our 4 pillars of strength. So would you please join me in welcoming to the stage Maisy Sear. There's your clicker. You don't have to stay there. Do you want to stay behind the podium?
I'll stay behind the podium. Yeah. I'm going to move this down just a little bit. Thank you. Yes, as Beth said, well, I also wrote mine down because my brain is so full of kids' activities and speaker coordinations and room layouts that I just didn't trust myself to remember one more thing. So we're just going to go with that. It's funny, though, they showed the regional coordinators, the ambassadors from quite a few years ago, and my mom was up there. So we have come full circle. But yes, I want to talk about where we go from here. So like Beth said, my name is Maisy Sear, and I'm the Manager of Education and Innovation for Oley. I may look familiar to some of you, and that's because I'm also a PN consumer of almost 30 years, 30 in a couple weeks, but we don't have to talk about that. It is honoring and humbling to follow 2 of the most incredible people in the history of this organization. Joan said that the Oley ambassadors are the heart and soul of this organization. I would argue she and Lynn are the heart and soul, and the Oley ambassadors are like the nervous system and the brain and all of that. But I'm excited to spend these next few days celebrating our past and embracing our future as an organization. One thing that will never change, though, is that we as an organization always want to prioritize the voice of our members. So before we begin considering what we hope the next 40 years will look like, I want to take a moment to think about what we want these next few days to look like. I've learned it's really important to be intentional with our time, especially since it's our first time back together in person in 4 years. It's going to go by faster than any of us realized. So I'd like to take a moment. I have no financial disclosures. That's what you're going to learn. Okay. So hopefully, if this works, if you have a smartphone, go ahead and open your camera app. And if you scan the QR code, it should take you to menti.com, which is like a polling website. And so what that will do is give you a box with the same prompt that you see up here. And so go ahead and fill that in. Give me one word to describe what you want to take away from these next few days. And if all works as it's supposed to, on the next slide, we'll see the words populate. Fingers crossed, guys. Technology has not been in my favor these past couple days. If you aren't able to use the QR code, you can open your browser and just go to menti.com and type in 27524924. That's the code that it will ask for. And so I'll give you just a minute to scan and try to log on to that. Again, hopefully everything works. If it doesn't, I'll just come up to each one of you and ask you. Awesome, thanks. All right. I don't know if it's going to populate. Can you guys see it on yours? Okay, cool. Does somebody want to shout some out that's popping up? Direction. Okay. Friends. All right. Well, thank you. I really appreciate your input. I'm sorry we weren't able to pull it up on there. All right. So thank you all so much for sharing your thoughts. And I hope over these next 3 days, you're able to remember that word that you shared and take the time to absorb everything that you can from our speakers, our ambassadors, our staff, and from each other. In addition to helping us be more mindful of our time together, this also helps us as an organization better understand what you're looking to get out of these events, and we can be more intentional with our planning and our content. This conference, our programs, this organization is for you. As anyone who is part of the nutrition support community knows, there isn't much out there for us. We are often the square peg trying to fit into the round hole. Oley has worked hard over these last 40 years to build this community in order to make sure people who are new to this world, and even those who have been navigating it for many years, know there is something out there for them. I don't know how many of you have read the book or seen the movie, but as I was thinking about this incredible group of people gathering together, it made me think of Horton Hears a Who. So if you aren't familiar, brief synopsis, Whoville is a little town on a dust speck that one day an elephant named Horton hears because his ears are so big, and nobody believes that they're there. And he encounters all sorts of chaos and hijinks because his friends in the jungle think he's crazy talking to this dust speck and want to get rid of it. And the Whos have to work together to make their voices loud enough to be heard, so people believe that they're there. And I was thinking, we are on that clover, shouting, "We are here, we are here, we are here." And one of us alone, trying to tell the world that we are here and we do matter, may feel like it doesn't make a difference. But when there's as many of us as there are in this room today and watching across the country from their homes and hospital rooms, we are a force to be reckoned with. Like Beth mentioned, in November of last year, our Board of Trustees, which also consists of a diverse group of consumers, clinicians, and caregivers, all with vast experience in the nutrition support community, came together to develop a strategic plan for this organization. They considered our past, envisioned our future, examined the tumultuous landscape of home nutrition support, and deliberated over what Oley's role should be in navigating all of that. Through the development of this plan, they were better able to explain who we are as an organization and the populations we hope to reach, what our ultimate goal is through the work that we do, how we're going to do it, and why this work is important to our almost 30,000 members. In general, a strategic plan serves as a compass, allowing us to more objectively evaluate if our existing and future initiatives synchronize with who we are as an organization and are propelling us in the right direction. Do our words align with our actions? This is all readily available on our website, oley.org, but just briefly, our mission, the why, is to enrich the lives of those living with home IV nutrition or tube feeding through advocacy, education, community, and innovation. We want to provide you the tools to live the best version of your life that you can, regardless of what that may look like. The what is our vision. We want to work towards a world where patients are united, supported, and empowered to thrive on home nutrition support. And our values are how we're going to do this. The principles at the forefront of all the decisions we make as a staff, as a board, and as an organization. These are the standards we want to hold ourselves to going forward. So diving right in. So Oley is unique in that we prioritize our patients, but our members consist of a broad array of folks with diverse roles within the nutrition support community. We are connected with dietitians, nurses, doctors, pharmacists, CEOs of companies that supply the stuff we need to stay alive, executive directors of other organizations doing this important work, and most importantly, caregivers and consumers. Through our membership, we have assembled a choir of voices who collectively have the power, the knowledge, the skills, the resources, and the experience to elicit real change if we are all sending the same message. We are here, we are here, we are here. We know that the nutrition support landscape is affected by a multitude of challenges right now on both a systemic and individual level. We are facing life-threatening supply shortages, fighting for financial reimbursement, and are generally concerned for our safety and well-being in and out of the hospital. On a smaller scale, we are exhausted from advocating for ourselves, telling our story over and over again, and still are terrified we're not going to be listened to. As an organization, we've worked to share information and resources we've gathered along the way, specifically regarding the process for how to advocate for changes at the legislative level. We've developed tools to help us advocate for ourselves even when we feel like we can't. We recently developed a feeding tube card where you can put all your information and just hand it to somebody and say, this is what you need to know. And we've created networks for consumers to connect with one another and help build each other up when it feels like everything else is a dead end. These are remarkable efforts, but we can still do better. We want to make change. We need to make change. And I believe we have the power, the numbers, the leadership, and the infrastructure to do so. By developing a task force that is dedicated to tracking the legislative process and keeping a pulse on the policies coming down the pipeline that have the potential to affect our members, we as a collective entity can play a more active role in that process. Whether this includes letter writing, making phone calls, speaking at events, we deserve to have a seat at the table where decisions are being made about us without us. We also want to develop more substantial opportunities for consumers and caregivers to learn how to tell their story in a way that can contribute to these much-needed paradigm shifts. We have always amplified the consumer perspective. It's been included in webinars, mini meetings, all of our conferences. But now we're done just being the inspiration. We want to be part of the transformation. We also have a session on Friday with our executive director, Beth Bohr, who's going to share more about the advocacy process. We want to continue to harness the power of the patient voice to fuel the elevation of our educational programs, which right now include our annual conferences, our regional conferences, our mini meetings, our newsletter, and our webinars. During COVID, we were able to shift gears and build out our virtual presence a bit more, but truth be told, we have a long way to go. We want these programs to be for our members, by our members. Although our staff all has some degree of lived experience as either consumer, caregiver, or clinician, which is so cool, each of us see this community through a different lens, and we want you to tell us what you see. As a patient, consumer, end user, whatever word resonates with you, I know what it's like not to be listened to. And I feel really fortunate to finally be in a position where I can turn this microphone around and say, no, listen to them. Through the development of a patient advisory task force, which will inevitably consist of more focused subcommittees down the road, our hope is that this group can operate as the liaisons for the members we serve to ensure we're on track with what the needs of this population are, and we aren't just functioning based off what we think the needs are. They will be our field reporters, our boots on the ground. Kind of like when your Gen Z kid tells you that low-rise skinny jeans are out and baggy high-waisted jeans are in. I'm still catching up. That being said, one great way to make your voice heard is to take advantage of opportunities to express your thoughts and opinions. Earlier this year, we drafted a survey asking about what the most common stressors are for consumers and caregivers in this community in an effort to shine a light on what the actual challenges are and dispel any misconceptions about what people think they might be. Basically, what stresses you out? We love QR codes, so bust out that handy-dandy cell phone and take a few minutes to let us know your thoughts if you like, or bookmark it and do it later, because I have a time limit. We are also slowly working to bring our website into 2023 and share some more recent resources from other great organizations doing similar work, like the American Society for Parenteral and Enteral Nutrition, the National Home Infusion Association, the Association for Vascular Access, and many more. But I think if I were to create a pyramid of these four categories, community would be the base, the foundation. Community is what Oley was built on all the way back to the days of backyard cookouts. If you ask anyone what they've gained from belonging to Oley, 9 times out of 10, it would be this right here: friendship, camaraderie, hope. Experiencing the challenges that come with any sort of home nutrition support can be painfully isolating, both for folks brand new to this world and even for those who have been navigating it for years. So to learn that there is a small town's worth of people who understand what you're going through is sometimes enough to help someone find the strength to power forward. Personally, Oley has allowed my family to connect with other families of kids who have the same rare diagnosis as my sister and I. Oley has created a space where consumers, caregivers, clinicians, and members of the industry can work collaboratively to find solutions to problems only a handful of people in the world might have. It's a place where we can talk about the gross stuff, the hard stuff, the scary stuff. It's a place where we can commiserate and celebrate. Thanks to the dedication of our incredible ambassador network, we now offer virtual support groups and activities of some kind for kids, teens, young adults, caregivers, EN and PN consumers. We have connected people who need supplies with people who have supplies. We've responded to countless information requests and not only been able to provide folks with resources, but with a sense of belonging and reassurance. Our goal now is to expand this community. We want to reach the people who don't even know they need us. We, of course, want to increase our social media presence and use those channels to generate engagement with our members in a meaningful way. I don't know if we're ready for a TikTok channel, but maybe. We also want to work to further develop relationships with institutions and providers so they know we can be a resource for their patients before they even leave the hospital. We also want to acknowledge that we have a lot of work to do in terms of improving our efforts towards increasing our diversity, inclusivity, and accessibility in a significant and sustainable way. As an organization focused heavily on healthcare, we acknowledge our role in the relentless battle towards health equity, especially for Black and Indigenous people of color, the LGBTQIA+ community, and other marginalized populations. We want these resources and this community to be easy to find and easy to understand. We know our members experience hurdles in their everyday lives, and we don't want to create more obstacles they have to overcome. Our newest initiative is innovation, which is also part of my job title, so we're working on it. How many times have you encountered a problem and developed your own creative solution because what you needed didn't exist, or wasn't accessible, or would work if one thing was different about it? Sometimes unprecedented problems require unprecedented solutions, and who is more likely to discover those solutions than the person with the problem? And chances are, if you're having that problem, at least one other person in the world is having that problem. The development, marketing, and distribution of a product for medical use can be a lengthy and challenging process, but there are many companies that are frequently coming out with new products and ideas and are looking for input from consumers themselves. We make these connections through market research and focus group opportunities, but we would also love to see collaborative efforts between consumers and companies in the early development stages as well. We've also created a new corporate partnership level titled Emerging Innovator for small companies just starting out. This allows us to provide opportunities for them to grow their brand and reach our members. Innovation is essentially another form of advocacy, advocating for what you need by creating it. Although this particular area is still very much being developed, we've already had some consumers approach us with amazing ideas, and we look forward to building out these processes in more detail and are so excited to see what's possible. So that was a lot of information, and most of it is available on our website, so you don't have to memorize it. But more than anything, we wanted to take this opportunity to share with you what is on the horizon for the Oley Foundation and invite you to come along with us. We will keep you informed of opportunities as we establish task forces and continue to build out our programs. But if you already have an idea of how you'd like to get involved, head to oley.org/volunteer. Some of you already have, and we love you for that. Once we wrap up with this week, we'll be able to shift our attention to the next project, whatever that might be. You should receive announcements each day through Brella, the app that we're using for this conference, encouraging you to complete the evaluations. But if for some reason you don't, they're also linked in the program, which is also in the app and on the website, so it's in multiple places. Please use that as an opportunity to share feedback. You can certainly come up to the staff members and just let us know, but I'm telling you, we have zero memory left in this hard drive, so it's probably best to write it down somewhere. This is our first in-person since 2019, and things may be a little different. They have been on the planning end, but let us know your thoughts, what you liked, what you didn't like, what you want to see more of, less of, what worked well, what didn't, whatever else you want us to know. We want this to be for you. And lastly, stay in touch with us, engage with us on social media. As the designated millennial, I've been trying desperately to post regularly, but it's way more fun when I actually have people to talk to. So if you comment or message us on Instagram, that's me. So share resources you find, let us know what ideas you have. We are at a pivotal moment where we have the ability to make this organization what you want it to be. So we can keep what you love, build out new ideas. We have so much potential. I also encourage you to attend the town hall Thursday night right here in this room, where some of these conversations will start happening and is another opportunity to have your voice heard. Thank you so much for listening. It's always hard to get up and talk to a room of bright lights. I just hope you all have a wonderful next few days and are able to take something away from it, be it a new friend, some great information, or just some of the cool swag that they have next door. We're going to shift into a break now so we can close the air wall for the next sessions, which will be PN and EN. So there will be snacks out in the hallway, and we do ask that you leave this room so they can close the air wall safely. And we will see you in the next sessions. Thank you so much.